This is day one of the third annual reunion conducted at the Shivananda Yoga Camp, Belmarin, Canada. Swami Mahadevananda talks and asks for the audience, their opinion, their thoughts. Hari Om Tat Sat. Please visit Facebook, Shivananda Yoga Vedanta Camp.
So again, in the name of Swami Shivananda and in the name of Swami Vishnu, welcome you all. ETC staff, ex-staff, future staff, welcome. What am I going to say? I don't know. Okay, so what is it going to be the topic today? Well, I don't know what to say. Okay, the only thing is looking at the future. I think we are coming to a very critical juncture in the history of mankind, like we never did before in the past. And unless we do the right things, we're going to have a lot of problems, very serious problems. As mentioned many times, our society today is very, very fragile. We don't know, we don't realize how fragile we are. And mention the fact, as Swami Vishnu used to mention from this very stage, that if one day, and that day will come, that we run out of gasoline or oil, what's going to be next? And supposedly, we go to the pump station or the gas station, and there's nothing there. What's going to happen to us? It seems how many people are aware of that, even though books and lectures have been delivered and many things have been told on the subject. But it seems nobody wants to think about it. Okay? And if tomorrow morning, when we go with our cars and suddenly there's no gas, then all the values, material values that we have until now will be wiped out. It will not take too long, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, before we go back to the horse and buggies, or we go back to the carriage. Why? Simply First is the car, it's no more use. Then you have to walk back, and for a while we'll have shoes. But then there will be no more shoes. There will be no supermarket. The Walmart has to close up if, people are not going to loot the whole thing. And after that, no more dresses, no more electricity, no more nothing. And it doesn't take too long, because for everything we need is oil. Now, if there is no more oil tomorrow morning, how are we going to survive? What's the alternative source of energy that we have? Officially, quote officially, so far nothing is there. It's mad rush towards wind solution, towards coal solution, coal fusion solution, coal solution, all sort of solution, but they are very, very, very palliative, they're good for. They counted out maximum 3 to 4%. Put it all together, the alternative solution that we have. They furnish maybe 3-4% of the total amount of energy which is necessary, which is given today by billions of barrels of oils. And in order to millions of barrels of oil to be delivered today, we have an infrastructure. They took us about 20-30 years to put it up. In order to go to Valmoran or Valdevi to get some gas station there and have gas ready, take it for granted. Sometimes we think it's too far. But it took a long time to create infrastructure whereby oil can be delivered at the doors, our doors. But the new energy, what is it? And since if we do not know, or at least officially, and if we would know, in order to implement it and deliver it to our doors, it will not come overnight. In between, what do we do? In between, how do we survive? What do we eat? Especially if it comes out in winter. What are you going to do, especially in Canada? And the cold countries of the world, like Northern Europe, or Southern part, how are you going to survive? Okay? So it could be a rather bleak outlook, okay? I'm sure that probably, pray God, it will not come that way, okay? But it might. It could be an option one day. And one day means maybe 15, 20 years down to the line, okay? No longer than that. We always say we discover new oil, well, nothing has been discovered, already been mapped out. The whole thing, the whole planet has been mapped out by a satellite. So they know exactly where the oil is and how much is there. That's why we have so many problems in the Middle East, okay? But once that oil is over, where do we go next? You think of this glass of water, as long as it's water, I discover something new. But if I drink all the water, there's no more water left. Where do you go next? Petrol is not a renewable source of energy that comes out of the night. It will take millions of years to recreate the oil that we are using today. So in between, where do we go? Where do we get the oil? Where do we get the energy? To heat our house, anything, transportation, even a cell phone, anything we do is dependent on the oil. So there's no oil. So what's next? And then what we call Visa card or our structure in society that is today, it will disintegrate within a day. Supported throughout the world, sun is no oil. Do you think that the world population will take the crisis like it did in Japan? For me, Japan was a shining example to the world what a disciplined and civilized country is all about. I don't know if you noticed that after the tsunami, which was rather heavy, I mean in Tokyo recently, the damage was quite heavy, okay? And there were markets of which the doors and the windows were broken, food market, supermarket, and in spite of difficulties, no one single looting any time anywhere. Can you imagine having in Montreal, New York, or in Europe anywhere, such a condition? With the broken doors of the food market open and broken, and nobody goes inside and doesn't steal even a iota of anything. And no murmuring, no problems, no this, no that. there was an article when I was there that a lady who used to live close to the atomic plant and had some problems went back to her village far away because she was a little bit afraid. She remembered, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And you know what's happened? Nobody spoke to her. And when I told her, go back to your village, go back to the place where you came from, bear it, okay? For us, in our society, it's unthinkable. We don't have that degree of self-awareness or self-discipline. We'll be looting, we'll be this and that and that and that. And that's what Swamiji has been telling us. Remember, in Nassau, Bahamas, he had this vision of fire, etc. Now, I don't here to scare you. Okay? I'm here to find out where can we go, and is there a way that we can find out a solution to all that? Now, I was reading a book called Thought Power, which is a famous book written by Swami Shivananda. And I would like to read the last part of it and then maybe invite some discussion. So as a new team, probably I would say, where are we going as a human being, as a society, as a yogi, as an individual, okay? Everybody talks about 2012 or 11 or not, we'll see, but let's see what Swami Shivananda says, okay? This is an excerpt from Thought Power by Swami Shivananda. The new civilization will give every encouragement to those who wish to study philosophy, religion, and spiritual thought. So that's what we are missing today. Okay? That we know how to send rockets to the moons and beyond, but spiritually we are bankrupt. Okay? There is no solution. I don't know if it's still not over. That crisis that goes on in the United States between the Democratic and Conservative parties. They are petty, petty stuff, and they don't know that all the world is waiting for that. And the world is going to wait for a while, until maybe some in the world might get fed up. So, okay, the United States doesn't do anything, let's do something here. And suddenly, whatever is left, the leadership in the world of the United States will be gone. And then what's happened after that? Someone else decide, okay, if the United States doesn't want to do something for the leadership of the world, maybe China will do something, maybe India will do something, maybe Japan will do something, maybe Europe will do something. Then what's happened to the United States? And then what's happened to our so-called civilization? Why? I think probably the curse that they had it, they won the Second World War, and after that was a mistake after mistakes after mistakes after mistakes after mistakes, and that's where we are today. But why? They didn't have a proper infrastructure, and not just the United States, poor guys and new guys on the block, but all over the world, okay? Why? Because we miss study of philosophy, real philosophy, not just academic stuff, religion and spiritual thought. It will make their study compulsory in schools and colleges. It will award scholarships to students of philosophy. It will confer prizes and titles on those who conduct researches in religion and philosophy. The deepest urge in man, the spiritual urge, will be given the fullest scope to realize its goal. That's why the mistake is we did not follow the spiritual path. It is a very serious mistake. Somehow, in Europe, it held up, because somehow some religions are there, still there, even though it's falling apart. But that would allow for at least a couple of thousand years to go on. But in North America, there's no, if any faith left in any religion, has been wiped out every day by the media for different reasons. They want to control people, they want to control humanity. But the very root spirituality, if it exists a little bit, is going on the process to be done to the dogs. Okay? So Swami Shivananda says, unless we do the opposite way, it will be very difficult. The deepest urge in man, the spiritual urge, will be given the fullest scope to realize its goal. The fruits of the new civilization are well worth all that everybody can do towards building it up. In a new civilization, man will want to lead a righteous life. He will be eager to serve his fellow beings and share with them what he has. He will love all, realizing that his own self dwells in all. And that's where probably the key to all that is Vedanta Yoga. If we really start to see that beyond name and forms, culture, religion, sex, whatever we are, that there is a common factor, a common denominator, which is the self, which is the soul, we'll never get along together. Always will be someone that for his own personal greed will exploit any feelings that we might have for each other. Okay? And if he sees that he can go to power simply saying, hate your neighbor as your own self, they'll do it, and they're doing it. Okay? So any differentiation, color, scheme, culture, language, religion, anything that I can use to get up on top, I'll do it. And we go for it. We call this civilization, we call this culture, we call this democracy. We give all sorts of names. The fact is that we lost the roots. Why do we have so many parties in this world? Why? Because they know that we do not know what we want, truly real what we want. Beside the family, beside the house, beside the future for the children, etc., what else is there? So these are material things. But from a philosophical point of view, even from the practical point of view, if you ask anybody, even today, what do you truly want in your life? You have 50, 60 years on this planet, 80, 100, whatever. What do you want to do with this period of life? Once you achieve this material goal, or goals, what's next? And unless that is very clear, that's why they create so many parties, because they come to us and say, oh, I promise you this, I promise you that, I promise you up, I promise you down, give my vote, thank you very much, I'll see you next 5 years or next 4 years, whatever. Why? Because they know that we don't know what we want. But if society has a little bit of spirituality, then you can sun dance, you can rain dance, you can do anything you want, but unless you deliver the goods, you're not going to get the vote. But we don't have it. And that's why, if you're not careful, we are bound to go down to the drain. Unless spirituality comes back in us, unless spirituality becomes one of the major goals as an individual and as a society, well, what's next? We end up giving value to Visa card or MasterCard, but what is that? Swami Vishnu used to say, hey, you know what? It's just a piece of plastic. That's the real values we have today, a piece of plastic. And what's happening to this piece of plastic is going down to the dogs, especially as we know here in North America again. That's what we call life, that we call civilization. That's what we've been fighting for the last 2,000 years to get to this point. So the alternative is on the spirit, and the alternative is within each individual, each one of us. Unless we learn something about it to somehow guide our life in that direction, we have problems. And in that direction and we find all the possible solutions on the personal level, as a society, and as a planet. And that's what Swami Mahadevananda, and that seems to me that Swami Vishnu has been telling us for the last 22 years it was up here. The fruits of the new civilization are well worth all that everybody can do towards building it up. In a new civilization, man will want to lead a righteous life. He will be eager to serve his fellow beings and share with them what he has. He will love all, realizing that his own self dwells in all. That's the important point. He will be devoted to the welfare of all beings. What an ideal society it will be, where people share with others all that they possess and will serve everybody. Where will be the need for taxes and duties in such a society in which everyone will voluntarily work for all? Where is the need for police and the army when people are devoted to virtue. This then is the ideal. Towards this end, let everyone strive to generate a thought force. May God bless you all, Swami Shivananda. Okay. So it really struck me. Actually, I read this book so many times, but it never struck me. But in the light of what's happening today, it becomes quite real. So, hey, this is an important message that I would like to share with all the people, because it seems to me, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm too pessimistic, I don't know, but we are not going in the right direction. One thing. And second thing is that things are not getting better. On the contrary, are getting worse moment by moment. You know, the stock market is going down to the drain. Why? Because two factions, in the name of pettiness, in the name of ego, in the name of ignorance, are destroying each other. Is that what we call world, planet, brotherhood, thinking about tomorrow, or no? To conclude, I'm glad to have your own report, in a sense, suggestions. Swami Vishnu said, we are like a Titanic, a big boat called the planet Earth. Either we live together, or we die together. We have a certain amount of room, you have a certain amount of water, you have a certain amount of food. Either we learn how to share it, or we sink down, all of us. It's not just a question of nationality, of this country or the other country. We are playing with the Middle East. Middle East is a powder keg. If, Libya and Egypt and Syria, and then comes Turkey, and then comes, after this, Chechnya, which is also mostly Islamic, then Russia comes in, that's going to become again Christianity versus Islam. And then they get sucked in China, and then what's happened to us again? And what for? For a little oil? For how long? For how much? Okay, that's where we are today. Unless we find some different solution, and what Swami Shivananda says, we should try to find some spiritual solution. Naturally, okay, let's be practical, okay? Swami Shivananda and Swami Vishnu said both the same ways. We have to assess the material world, and we have to assess the spiritual world. But give the priority where it belongs to. You can't say I'm a spiritual person, but I need electricity, I need something to cover myself, I need something to eat. So we have to assess the material world, we have to assess the spiritual world, and give the priority where it belongs to, because right now it's all on the material. And that's, of course, we're out of balance, completely out of balance. And then we create maybe a fracture that it reflects on tsunami, on earthquakes, and then we blame nature. In the scripture, since time immemorial, the planet is considered a living organic being, as a matter of fact, called Shabari. And in the form of a cow, said, they milked me so much, there's no more milk from that. And she went to complain to Lord Vishnu, who's the preserver of life. They said, do something because I'm going to destroy it here. He said, don't worry about it, I shall come down as Shri Krishna. And as Shri Krishna, in the name of love, he destroyed the people, the bad people at that time. We are coming in the same condition. We're milking the earth every single day in all possible dimensions. For how long and how much this organic being called planet is going to take before she starts to shake herself up, and when she does it, maybe 50% of the population will be gone. And then we say, well, it's the tsunami, oh, what is the earthquake, oh, what is the volcano? But it's an organic living being, it's like me and you. It's a little bit bigger. But it has the same soul, it has the same spirit, has the same stress point and strong point. And we are pressing every day on the stressful point. And if she reacts, well, let's not complain about it, because we've been looking for it, doing our level best to gut the planet out. So we have to consider that. We start to see that also as part of the same unity, as part of the same infinite soul, maybe we can redress it. But if not, we might have some serious circumstances. So I don't want to be pessimistic, because it sounds like, but still have hope. And in the end, some visions, it doesn't matter how bad it is. Find your peace within yourself, which is the most important thing. Let's learn how to find peace. Me, myself first. I have to find peace within me. And if you find yourself peace within you and everybody else, then you have peace on earth. Okay? Not pieces on earth. Okay? So the message of Vishnu was, and also maybe I read something later on from Vishnu Devananda Upadesha. He talks about peace and instruction before that. He said, find your peace within you. When you have peace, you can face anything else, doesn't matter what. But if you have no peace, then we got serious problem. The stress and strain will come. Any factor from outside, any unbalance, either man-made or nature, if you have no peace, you won't be able to take it. It will fall apart. Okay? That's what we want. Of course, that's a choice that we have today. Either we stand up to it, to ourselves first, and as society, then maybe we'll be able to do something about it. Okay? With this, I conclude. I don't know if someone has something to add to it. I'll be very happy. We'll have to open up a kind of, how do you say, answer question period, or ideas, or brainstorm, etc., etc., etc. Thank you. Anybody has to say something, please go ahead. Because I would like to find it. People have been asking me what to do, what's happened in 2012, where do we go? Do we find some food? Do we find... I thought for a while, yes, maybe we can find some food, maybe some... But Swami Vishnu always said from that very chair, this is one of the safest places on earth. The Laurentians being one of the oldest geological mountains on the planet. They're quite safe. And we have plenty of water everywhere. And we have plenty of wood everywhere. So what we need is a little food. But as far as concerning heat, we can create. As far as concerning energy, we create. It might not come to that. But at least here we have infinite, nearly infinite resources of survival. Okay? I do pray we will not come to... If it comes to that, of course, everybody is welcome to come up here. Hurry up, and we can dig up your cabins anywhere here. They are very beautiful experts. They can do cabins and do houses, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so day and night, 2012 or 2013 or 14, the ashram, as long as it will be here, will be open to everybody day and night. Okay? So, but I think it's a very safe place. Okay, because I was thinking, well, I can worry about here, and we can find easy solution. Okay, today, we're actually on the process to find out, for instance, transformers, not transformer, but generator that can go on wood to create electricity. We can create dynamos to create the water that we have. We can store for long periods of time also the grains, or the dry foods, or dry vegetables, and we have plenty of water. It just takes a pump, okay, this is right on the middle of the camp here, 100 feet deep well, that Swamiji was so proud, is pure, crystal clear water, okay, from the Laurentians. So we can go on forever. We just cut a tree, or we can cook some spaghetti, so to speak, or do some porridge, okay? So there are infinite sources here. But then I said, well, as person, Swamiji left me in charge of Europe and India, said, but if I'm here, how am I going to take care of the other people? And wherever I am, those people have the right to survive as much as everybody here. So what am I going to do? Okay? And I'm not like Shankaracharya, we can be here and there at the same time. Okay? So how those people in Europe, how those people in South America, how those people in India and the Far East are going to survive? What can we do? And it says, nothing I can do. What can we do? What can we do? If something happens seriously, what can we do? How are we going to solve the problem? The only way is to find peace. And whatever we can do from a material point of view, we try. But I don't have so much fear with that, because I think that Swami Shivananda, Swami Vishnu, they'll do something serious. That's why I feel, and that the mission of Swami Shivananda and the mission of Swami Vishnu are not over yet. They're not even just probably coming to the surface now. Okay, and their own blessing will be there, and their own blessing, they'll save us, all of us. So they can really help the world, mankind, and us as an individual. So I have a tremendous faith in that. Practically speaking, well, we'll see, something will happen. We'll have probably signs before that, and we'll try to do something, if that's worthwhile, okay? If not, as I say in the Middle East, inshallah, may the God's will be done. That's all we can do, okay? So thank you very much. So I invite anybody to have any solution or to have any input, okay? I'll be very happy about it. You can come up the mic and have a conversation with everybody. Thank you.
I have thought about these same things that you have been talking about. And well, we have started to do it at my home, which is passive solar and wood heat. We have started growing vegetables. Not a large garden, but on the decks, we've been growing vegetables. I'm going to put in a greenhouse this fall. And also going to put in wind turbines. There are new ones out now that not only on them, they have the wind turbine on them, and they also have solar collectors on them simultaneously, and they follow the sun. So you don't have to be restricted to a stationary tech that they had now, and they're not very, very expensive. The technology now has improved greatly. Where I live in Washington, D.C., they had a large, a couple of months, about a month on the mall, it was called the Whole Life Expo, and many colleges all around the world brought in alternative energy houses and all types of products. And I was there and I was amazed to see that the young people have these very same concerns that Swami Mahadevananda has been talking about it. And they really want to go into the future to see what can be changed about that. And when I was down and listened to it, it really reminded me of Swami Vishnu's TWO, the True World Order, people making really, truly changes. And so a lot of these changes are out there now. We need to get on the internet and look at them. It's not a lot of hard things to do. Simple home composting and things like this will take away from some of the resources and the energy that has to be put into landfills, which is terrible waste. But just on a personal level, even on a small balcony in an apartment, you can grow tomatoes and other crops like that that you can really use to eat. But what this does when you start to do it, even on a small level, because we all realize this, we have regular potted plants in our home and so forth like this, but to take this a little further and begin to change our energy, or change our mind process of growing these things. But the processes and the products that are out now will truly amaze if you look at them. And as I say, they're not very expensive. And I think that what has to happen is there has to be sort of like a global mind. But the global mind starts in each individual. This is Swami Mahadevananda just saying now, as we take these ideas to think about them, time really is coming now because we are going to run out of oil. It's inevitable that there has to be a major change. And I believe that when that change comes, there will be a lot of people that won't be around. But what happens is that I truly believe that what it will do is make the people left really become human beings, more now concerned about one another instead of what's the biggest car can have or how many phones or how many computers. It will change and make us truly a global nation coming together there. In closing, there are a tremendous amount of products out there that can really help about saving energy, because this is what we have to do foremost, is start now to think this very moment about alternative energy sources and look more as a collective global world in some portion or another. And I've always believed that that was one of the things that would come from this yoga reunion, because we come from so many different walks of life and so many diverse places around the world. There's no real quick answer to this, but there's one thing I also believe in, putting the thing of karma aside. The one thing that Shivananda always said was to be self-reliant. Go within, you'll find the answers. When you have discussions, if they're not spiritual discussions that are really going somewhere, you have debates and things like this, and heated debates, and then eventually war where people get frustrated. But inquiry leads to the truth, and these answers to these solutions are in us. We're not here for any particular other reason than to make major league changes. And that was one of the beauties of the festival like that they had in 1979, was to really come together and make some changes. Thank you. And one thing to remember, we're never alone, and there's really no fear if you are prepared. There's something that was said that chance favors the prepared mind. So it's a thing of getting prepared now. Thank you.
without being negative or blanco, first of all, I'll ask you the question. Come on. How many people thought about 2012? Show their hands. How many people think about it, or thought about it, or heard about it? Show their hands. 2012, the dates of 20th or 21st December 2012. How many people thought about it? Okay. How many people never heard anything about it? I mean, Raghuram never heard anything? Come on.
He's got too many girlfriends.
Undecided.
That's one thing. Second thing is, I would say whether something happens or does not happen, okay, to prepare ourselves for that spiritually is the best solution. The worst thing can happen if we're just thinking like Noah, wants to tell everybody it's not going to come, it's coming, everybody says, forget about it, Let's listen to CNN and BBC to tell you a different story, even though now Discovery Channel, every channel say, what the future of the planet, blah, blah, blah. They use terror to block humanity, even at this point, okay? Terror. But if you're mentally prepared, then we can avoid a lot of problems, okay? If something hits you or hits us suddenly without any mental, psychological preparation, it's going to be much worse. But if you're mentally prepared, it comes, fine. If it doesn't come, still fine. Let's get on with society and find peace within myself. I think probably the best psychological, spiritual preparation and the best possible we can achieve.
Okay, great. My name is Monica Kaufman. I'm probably not very qualified to be up here and speak, but I just want to share a couple of things. I really agree with what you just said about, it's within us, and I think that if we're vibrating this energy of fear and we're concerned about some date, we're not giving the world our best, and we're not sharing that faith that we have inside. And I think the more faith we can have, the more it shines and it's felt by others, and it I think, creates its own energy. And I just want to share about this, I guess he was a Swami, Father Bede Griffith. Father Bede Griffith wrote this really great book. It was called The Marriage of East and West, and I was just mentioning it to Valerie when I met her by the camp, and he spoke about how we spent billions of years building our bodies, coming out of the ocean, and now how we're working on the brain, and we're building these neural networks, and we're building like this massive computer, which is really connecting us all and linking us all. And how he, as an optimist and having faith, saw the world coming to a place of love, where we really do come back to our essence and to the essence of who we are, which is love. So I wanted to just share that with you, because I think that, we can have a million products that we have, but all of that is like, yes, we have to be prepared. It would be, foolish and naive not to give it consideration and to be prepared. So I do agree, but I think we have to simply have faith as well. So I wanted to share that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Inside us. That is the most important thing. If you have really a peace, okay, let the world go by. Let's, whatever happen shall happen. There's nothing I can do. What shall happen tomorrow? Nothing I can do right now, so to speak, okay, from the material point of view, spiritual point of view. So we get that peace or that contentment inside us. That's another word that went out of fashion. We're always looking about tomorrow, but we never think about right now. Right now, how do I feel? Am I happy, or my mind projects itself in the past or in the future? Or what about right now? Am I contented? Do I find happiness and peace within myself? And if everybody does that, tomorrow will take care by itself, so to speak. Okay? Maybe we'll see the signs. We have to do something practical later on. Maybe, okay. But again, the main point is, if I have peace within me, I don't need anything else. So tomorrow comes, after tomorrow, next moment, it doesn't matter, because I have a little bit of peace of mind. And if everybody does that way, it's positive thinking, yogi Vedanta meditation. That's all it is, okay? That's my solution, so to speak, a personal solution to all that. Because I've been asking wherever I go, what do you think of this, what do you think of that, what are we going to do about this, what are we going to do about that? We might have some practical solution, but the main solution is to have peace of mind. Can I get peace of mind? And then Swami Shivananda, Swami Vishnu are behind us, okay? And they'll tell us when the moment comes what to do and how to do it. That's the way I feel, okay? Why I open this discussion? Because on the personal level, and that's probably a Swami, whatever, people ask, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? What are we going to do everywhere, wherever I go? It's becoming more and more. And also I realize on TV, it's kind of the same topics more and more often. Before, 3-4 years ago, it was like an iceberg. Some TV shows here and there were mentioned, and now every day it's becoming more and more. It's becoming a tsunami of media for different reasons, okay? And what do we answer to that? How do we do that? I don't know. Just find peace, and that's what Swami Shivananda, Swami Vishnu is there, okay? I see his mind mother. By the way, that if you don't know, on that portrait on the right there is Swami Vishnu's mother, okay? She was 93 years old. She actually passed away in Kerala, and Swami Vishnu was there. As a sannyasi of Swamis, you're not supposed to be at the deathbed of our mothers, okay? Very few sannyasis were given that particular gift to be there, and one of them was Swami Vishnu. And when they came to the ashrams, he stayed for a couple of days, and she was not feeling well. So he left for a pilgrimage, and then he came back in the afternoon, and at that night, she left the physical body. Swamiji knew probably. He brought actually Dr. Spant, our doctor here from Sansevere. He came all the way down. And in the evening, we sadhu said, Om Namo Narayanaya. And then she came up on the bed. Swamiji put her forehead and her hands in her forehead. She just opened up herself up, I don't know, kind of a vision, and she left the physical world. And she was with me 4 or 5 years. We never had a conversation why she never speak a word of English, okay? And I hardly had Malayalam, even though I've been 35 years in India, still have a hard time to speak the local language, okay? But she had tremendous amount of love, and she had fire too, so I understood where Swami Vishnu took his fire. But she was very beautiful. She was very fantastic. She was 93 years old. She became a Swami, okay? She was initiated by Swami Shivananda in Rishikesh. She spent many years in Rishikesh. She came here and she stayed on the house where her mother used to be. And remember, weekends she gave me the first taste of real Indian food. Okay, I used to come from Montreal Center, and she fed me on the Indian food. Okay, spicy even at that time. And she has such a love, such a mother, and she has the power also behind. That's why I'm very happy that they put their portrait there. Okay. Her name was Swami Sharadananda, okay? Ridya Sharadananda. And that was the name of the Swami. But you used to call him Mataji, okay? But she had real fire, she was really very strong, very determined lady. And I can see where Swami Vishnu came from, okay? So a beautiful portrait is there, full of love, full of compassion, truly human being, okay? Which I was very happy and honored to see her, okay? And see the last part of her life. Any other question? Any other?
Yeah, I've been thinking of an ancient aphorism I really, really love. I don't even know where it comes from. Is it Chinese or Arabic? But it's a very simple line, and it pretty much epitomizes everything that's been kind of said, which is, it's better to light a candle than to curse the darkness. And the darkness is so strong. It's so incredibly strong. And the problem is, if we get too caught up in the fear of it, then our mind becomes negative. So, what is the candle that we can light? Well, obviously, yoga, spirituality, meditation of all the kinds of meditation there are, and what all the great religions provide as a kind of a candle. But I also feel like, and I've been thinking about this for quite a while, what's the little candle that we can light ourselves, whether it's some kind of new technology that will help the environment or those kinds of things. And the project I've been working on for a couple of years now is diversity training. And I just got back from Egypt and Israel doing a series of workshops. And it was fascinating to see the kinds of stigmas that people. I was in Tel Aviv doing this workshop with about 35 people who were all from Israel. And I'd never realized there was this huge stigma between Ashkenazi and Sephardic. And that these kinds of tensions that exist everywhere between people, and I do believe that's part of the true world order also, to look at how do we just learn to live together beyond all of these prejudices and way we have of stigmatizing each other. So for me, that's the little candle that I'm working with right now.
Thank you.
Paul from Delaware. Swami Vishnu's mother came up to see him about 6 or 7 years after he had been in Rishikesh up in North India as a Swami. And Master Shivananda greeted her, and he said to her the very first day, "You want to be a Swami?" "Yes, Swamiji." So Swami Vishnu's mother came up to see him. 3 days later, she was a Swami. Swami Vishnu said that she always wanted to be a Swami or go along that line, but she was married and had children. And then in my own little world, I had a pain management clinic in Houston, and one of the guys there built the oil wells in the Middle East, and he said that a quarter of the known oil reserves are right under the sand in Iraq. That's why we're there. Of course, the Americans are there having a war and different things. And the Royal Dutch Shell 5 years ago only knew of 13 years of oil reserves. So as Swami Mahadev said, we are running out. Swami Vishnu asked me the last day I saw him to get people out of pain. Well, that didn't make sense. I ended up having a pain management clinic. The way to fix the world is everybody needs to get their feet up under their body. If it's through yoga or through any kind of other discipline, whatever you're doing, as Swami Vishnu, he lived his life through yoga, and Master Shivananda, to get people to get their lives back, get control, get discipline, all those good words that we use. But I just got back from Tokyo, and I just saw so many people that are so disconnected. And that tsunami was bad, and that those people are going to pick themselves up and live that life and do what they need to do to get that right. And the Shivananda yoga is there now, and you meditate with the Japanese people, and that's their heritage. So Shivananda yoga through Swami Vishnu, Swami Mahadev, and others are back in Japan, giving the Japanese a way to meditate, and they all chant. I was in France, and the French people, some of them, they would look to the side when they did Jai Ganesha. They would not chant. You go to Tokyo, you go to Japan, all those people chant. And I do Asian body work and this and that, and I had a clinic, but my Japanese teacher said his grandmother used to always sing about nature. They don't have a personal God. Krishna, Buddha, all that. They're not into it. You meditate, you can get everything you need. And those people, like his grandmother and all that, those people they all sing about nature. So Shivananda Yoga is back in Japan. They're all going to Thailand to get TTC. There's 300 or 400 TTCs, graduates already in Japan. And they do chant and they meditate. When you sit in there and meditate with the Japanese people, it's like being in India. You just sit there and you connect right up with that source or whatever it is. But it's a heavy place, but they're one step at a time. They're going to get back to where they need to be. And the younger generation are looking for meditation, looking for sun salutations, looking for Jai Ganesha, and Shivananda Yoga is going to have a presence there, so that's kind of neat. And I do have to give you a commercial. We have on YouTube 67 hours of Swami Vishnu, Swami Shivananda from the 50s up until today. And see me later on during the reunion, and it's all yours, and it's all free, and enjoy it. Hari Om Tat Sat.
They told me that sneakers, running shoes, became very popular because I don't know if you're aware of, Japanese are very hard workers. Okay, these a father, one of the teachers there. She told me, my father is a bank manager. She said, and in his life as a bank employee and eventually bank manager, he did not take a vacation longer more than 5 days. And from morning till evening, he's at work. And the whole Japan is the same mentality. So during the tsunami, when electricity was not available even in Tokyo, people used to walk 10 or 15 kilometers every day to and fro to go to work, and so they had to use running shoes because they had to walk for quite a while. And what they realized is that the tremendous fragility of these societies. Suddenly say, no electricity, this is Tokyo, it's a mega city, 13, 14 million people. In Tokyo everybody walks this way, it's not enough room. As you know, Japan is more than 120, 130 million people, and is the size of smaller than California. Okay, so they have not much room. But they went to work, but realized, oh my God, if there is no electricity, how are we going to survive it? It was the major psychological impact that the tsunami created on them. How that, which is a very advanced society in Japan, how much they were worried. So we had to go back to the basic, because atomic solution is not a solution, as it was proven there before of Nagasaki and Hiroshima, and today with the tsunami. So they really start to rethink themselves in a completely different way, and their spirituality was something very strong. The people start to take it very seriously. I mean, I was amazed the interest that they have in spirituality in Japan. Quite at the beginning, I was a little worried because, as you know, years ago, they had this kind of cult, Om, that put cyanide on the subway of Tokyo, and people died. So I thought they're going to look us, blue, this guy are coming from abroad, etc., etc. They call us gajin, so to speak, okay? But then I realized that they really are open to it, to serious yoga, to serious spirituality. They're very open to it, and they're really taking up a very, very gigantic steps. So it's something very good for mankind, something very peaceful, something very positive that exists in that country. Right? So I mentioned, that made me think of 2012. So this guy already got a lesson. He got the first lesson, what to do and how to do it, what to survive, how to survive. And I told you, they did not touch anything. No gas station, no looting, not taking someone else's car or food, nothing. It went on peacefully, quiet, with discipline, and a lot of spirituality. I really amazed. So I said, maybe they can teach us something about it for the future. Okay? Thank you, Prala. So, any other thought about it? Okay? No, that's it?
It's all on the same subject, just that spirituality prepares us for change, and, well, if anything, what may or may not happen, that's just change. And we're part of that change, and probably on the other side of that change is just evolution and elevation and positive change. So I just wanted to add a positive note to that there's always going to be change, and there's change in every breath. So I suppose there's not that much to worry about. And perspective's everything. And if the Japanese can rise up through spirituality and obviously improve their mindset, perhaps their spiritual space, that's certainly a lesson for us. And a particular date is a bit ludicrous to look forward to, but if it happens, it happens. And spirituality and a little bit of support, divine guidance will certainly brighten up the day. My thoughts.
Thank you. Word sentence Swami Mahadevananda used to say that every failure, mankind failing to do what's supposed to do, is a stepping stone to success. So it will be a change. Maybe it will be drastic for some people, for mankind, but it's bound to be better. In the end, positive always overcome negative. That's the law. So there might be a little bit of turmoil here and there, but I'm sure it will be a very positive change. Probably what is important, as mentioned before, is to be prepared if something's going to happen, that's all. Mentally or psychologically, and last but not least, spiritually. And then let it come. Let it way, the way it wants to come, inshallah, do the best. But change is something very positive. Change can be extremely positive in the right direction. That's probably, thank you very much for opening that up. That if there will be a change, it will be in a positive way. It will be for the better, for the whole planet. Now for this country, this religion, this language, this culture, for the whole mankind. Okay? But I'm looking forward for that. We'll be probably very excited to live in that period if we are still alive at that time.
This path that we're on, there is room for diversity, like all of the paths of yoga. Each one of us has a different approach, different needs and different things to bring. And for the karma yogis among us, I think there is a way that we can help to guide change, so that although the world passes us by and we accept what happens, we do have the ability to recognize opportunity when it presents itself, opportunities to put pressure this way, to help the municipality decide to accept windmills, for example, wind generators within their territory. I live in a little village where we've just passed legislation that outlaws wind generators within the municipality. I missed the opportunity to be part of the council to help guide that. But on the other hand, we have managed to protect certain areas of the forest, of the mountain, because of putting pressure. It's politics, and the person has to know when to back off for your own sanity and peace of mind. But for karma yogis, it's important, I think, to be there as well and to help guide things. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If we are empowered to do something about it in a positive way, according to our capacity, according to our level, then let's do it. Okay? That's why we're here. I'm trying to help everybody and teach a little yoga, and practically whatever we can do, we try to do it. Yeah?
We can actually make a change, also very silently. Just try to live with all the teaching we have. And with the light you shine from the teaching inside to your surrounding, you will actually start to break down the darkness in other people, the fear they live in. They will slowly come and they'll be curious. What are you doing? You're different from you did a year ago. That's what I experienced from my students. Even they say to me, oh, we want the old one back. Yes, but I'm not the old one anymore. So just be the change without say to people, you have to do it this way, you have to do it this way. Just be the change inside and shine with the light you have. Even if it's a tiny little bit light where you really feel integrated with. And I found it strange to come here, go to Adam, went to the Bahamas, and now I'm here to gain strength, to go back outside in the world and just keep shining, even more and more. And that will change people. They will see, okay, something is different here. They cannot put this fear onto me. When people say in Denmark they like to talk about the weather a lot. Oh, it's raining. And I said, yes, but I sang Jaiganesh all the way to work. And then you look at me and then they stop talking about the bad weather with me. So just try to be the change from within.
Let's change each one of us by ourselves. I have to change myself first. Okay? And then if God wants, we might change other people, so to speak. Okay? So let's change ourselves. I have to change first who? Myself. And if you change yourself, then society will change by itself in a positive way. So let's pray there's going to be a positive change in all the direction. I'm sure there will be, in the end, the very bottom line, okay, in a personal level, I feel very, very, very positive. Everything shall come for the best, and we shall overcome, no doubt about it. Okay? Let it come, tsunami, earthquake, whatever has to come, let it come. But in the end, at the very, very bottom, we shall overcome. That's the most important. Spirituality of God, or the Master, shall overcome. And there's no doubt in my mind. All the rest comes and goes. It comes around, goes around, it goes around, it comes around. But in the end, shall overcome. That's the most important thing. Okay. Anything else?
I think if we embrace change and have it as our rock, it's like the one stable thing that we have. You know, the one reality that we have. And we can use it as our tool to kind of guide us in the right direction. So, thank you very much.
See, there is hope. There is hope. It's the youth, the ideas, the positive is very, very important that we keep this in our own heart. Okay? Being positive and look for the best. And in the end, it shall be the best. There's no doubt in my mind. There will be a temporary worry about some, maybe some geographical calamities or some, but it will pass. In the end, the Spirit shall overcome. The Spirit of peace, the Spirit of God, the Spirit of Swami Shivananda, the Spirit of Vishnu, and the Spirit all of us have deep inside us. In the end, it shall overcome. Okay? Swami Vishnu used to say, since time immemorial, there have been wars between the asuras, called the demons, and the angels. This is nothing new. If you read the Puranic books, Mahabharata, Ramayana, the ancient textbooks, they all tell you the same story. We have been there many times. And maybe this time will be crucial because either, as people say, we might go step up to higher consciousness or we might go back. Yeah, but even if you go back for how long, we still come back up again. And try it again. You can't like reincarnation. Oh God, if I don't make it this time, I'll try it again and again and again and again. So one day, all of us shall get there. So if it's not today, it'll be tomorrow. If it's not tomorrow, the day after tomorrow. But the fact is, one day we should get there. That's the most important thing. Okay? Thank you very much. But the youth is adapt, adjust. They can get along with the world, and then let's see what's happening. Okay? Any other? Okay. If there is a thing they'd like me to talk to you specifically, I'd be welcome to. But I was curious because I had a little pressure, not much of a pressure, a lot of questions asking people about 2012, what are you going to do, what Swami Shivananda organization is going to do, where are we going? I said, I don't know, I'm not Swami Shivananda, I'm not Swami Vishnu, so I don't know where we are going. I know that it will be messy on the world outside, and it seems to me it's not getting any better, but find your own peace, that's all. Find your own peace inside, and let the rest of the world go by. Okay, what can we do? If you can help, as she does, which is wonderful, let's help. If not, we can help with our own example. We can help in teaching Swami Shivananda, Swami Vishnu. And we can help other people to find themselves peace and a little bit of joy on this planet. Anybody else? Anything else? Okay. If you have any suggestion, please let me know. I'll be very happy to open up to anything. Okay, today and tomorrow and after tomorrow. I think we'll have a little break now. You want to have something?
I'm just a humble taxpayer like you all. What happened before oil was discovered and cars were there? If everybody thought that we don't have enough camels and horses and carriages, nobody would have solved the explosion that was needed with the rise of the populace. I think there are two ways of living. One from the bottom up, that means from the material world try to become spiritual. And the other is that the spirit is coming down to earth. And there is no question that harmony comes when the two are one. The motto that you have on your t-shirt sums it up. Serve, love, meditate, realize, unity and diversity, right? This is the key of integrating the spiritual and the material. The spiritual will always win because God is omnipresent, God is in everything. The people that get inspired to discover a car or an aeroplane or an internet, where did they get the ideas? Do you think it's human ideas? Of course not. It's spiritual ideas. So there is a universal mind, there is a divine mind, there is a divine heart, there is a divine essence, there is a divine life force, there is a divine existence, Satchit Ananda. So these four, serve is our way of physical wellness. Love is our way of emotional wellness. Meditate is our way of mental wellness. Realize is our way of spiritual wellness. It's very magical to put this message from Master Shivananda to us, sums it up, the holistic approach, the 4 yogas that you learn here in the TTC. You all been living that and promoting that. You are the light of the world. You are carrying this message to bring that wholeness, which is the spiritual impulse that we are feeling. So we have to do our part, and all the other problems. One person in India saved India, Mahatma Gandhi. With what? With a message of peace. To stand in front of what? All the fight from colonialism. One scientist discover one equation can open up a new physics, Albert Einstein, by a simple equation equating energy and mass and bringing in the speed of light in between. So the story is that it's a matter of consciousness. If the consciousness of the humanity rises to the spirituality, then we can perceive these things that are coming to us. And that's what saves the problems. Of course, it's a battle between light and darkness, right? The light is coming from above, the darkness is coming from the control of the masses here. And we are caught into that. What happened 11 years ago with the change of the Millennium? Everybody was scared, all the computers going to collapse, everything is going to disappear. What happened? The same thing with 2012, it's a moving target. About this time, collective consciousness. Because the battle we are living in is a consciousness battle. Those who are in the light always survive. Even in the earthquakes in Japan that happened, 20,000 people died. But do you know how many people survived even in the same places where the others died? Why? Did you ask yourself that? Because their soul is attuned, their consciousness is high. They align themselves with love, with service to all. So it's the collective consciousness absolutely that's going to dictate the future and when. So 2012 is just a moving target. It's going to be 2013, it's going to be 2014. So what? It's to keep us in that fear, and they try to align us with them, while the spiritual people are going to try to align us with them. Now, where is your free will? And what are you teaching in your yoga classes? It's that free will. It's that raising of consciousness through bringing the spirit down and rising with the material up and meeting in the heart. It's a beautiful challenge, of course, but certainly love will win, not fear. Right? Serving all will win than just saving myself. Meditating, connecting with the higher consciousness will win instead of isolating myself with the intellect. Realizing the potential of my soul will win, not the fact that I can go and sit on the top of a mountain and arrive at personal ascension, leaving everything below in the darkness. So that's the collective consciousness that we need to rise up with. I'll leave you with these just reflections. Unity and diversity, that means serve all, love all. It's the message of the East to the West and to all of us. Thank you.
positive about the whole thing. Doesn't matter what's going to happen, okay? This spirit shall survive. Our spirit shall survive. Doesn't matter how bad it is. Okay? It's not going to be so bad, okay? But in the end it'll be light at the end of the tunnel. Doesn't matter. In the end shall be light at the end of the tunnel. That's the only thing that counts, okay? So all the best, and let's see tonight 8 o'clock to continue to meditate and to chant for us. And conscious, I think it's another point. It's, today, I think the battles are not on the Marines, on the SEAL, on the aircrafts. Today's battle are consciousness, positive against negative. And I think these two masses will conflagrate, and whatever strongest will survive. It doesn't matter which one, okay? In the end, we shall survive as a human being and as a spiritual being. All the rest, let it come, let it go. Om Namah Shivaya. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnam Gacchate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Peace, Peace, Peace. Om Bolo Satguru Shivananda Maharaj Ki Jai. Om Bolo Swami Vishnu Devananda Maharaj Ki Jai. Om Tat Sat. Thank you very much. Om Namah Shivaya. See you tonight.